Hi guys, it's Aoife from Fred Who Died Laughing, and I'm here with a book review today. So I wanted to briefly talk about Salt to the Sea by Ruta Sepetys, which I just finished yesterday. This is a historical novel set near the end of World War II, and it's about a few different people in East Prussia during this time, this really horrible time in history, and they are trying to evacuate their country because their country has been torn apart by war. It's a really bad situation. People are basically dying left, right and centre. If they're not dying of bullet wounds or bombs and explosions, they are dying from starvation or cold or hypothermia. And it's a really powerful book. I absolutely flew through it. I basically read it in a day yesterday. And I just felt completely emotionally drained when I finished it. It just wrung my heart out. I wasn't expecting to get so attached to all the characters, but I really did. This is about the group of people. They are travelling to three of them that we get the points of view. There's a few different character point of views. There's three people. There are Florian, Joanna and Amelia, and then there's also Alfred, who is a soldier on a boat that's going to be evacuating people. And these three people, they're with a small other group of people. They end up meeting each other through different circumstances. They all end up travelling to this boat together, and they're getting on a boat called the Wilhelm Gustloff, which is actually a real boat. It was a real disaster that happened during World War II that killed more people than the Titanic. Yet I have never heard about it before, and as far as I know, a lot of other people that have read this book have never heard of that disaster before, which is completely insane when you think about it. This is just this amazing story about people surviving against all odds. It's really fast paced, as I said. I completely flew through it. It was really easy to read. I feel with some historical novels they get bogged down in kind of history and dates and like all this kind of description, and I think this one is really well aimed at, I guess, younger adults or the older version of young adults. There's not too much information or historical information bogged down in it. It's just these people telling the story, saying where they're going, saying where they've come from, and I really enjoyed that. I wasn't completely I wasn't getting a load of information thrown at me at once. I was slowly digesting it, so it was very easy for me to understand. One of the most powerful things about this book is the characters. For a majority of the characters in this book, I just really grew attached to them. They were going through so much hardship, yet they were so wonderful as people. They were kind and they were good, and they had bad things happen to them, and each character kind of has their own little mystery behind them. We don't really know what it is at first, and piece by piece, they start to kind of tell other people and tell the reader what it is that they're running from, what it is they've experienced, what they're trying to forget, and it's kind of like almost like something unraveling or a flower slowly opening where we're seeing, the full story, and it was really amazing. While I really love Joanna, who's an older girl in the book, she is a nurse, I also really love another girl, the younger girl, who is called Amelia. She was just absolutely beautiful for me as a character. I just found myself in awe of her the whole time I was reading it. She was so unbelievably strong considering everything she had been through, yet she had this wonderful innocence to her as well. And she was only 15 years old, and her chapters sounded like a 15-year-old. She didn't sound too old for her age, despite going through this war basically on her own. And she had this wonderful kind of trust for certain people. She would put her trust in people, and she would completely, love them for who they were. And she was able to kind of tell things about people by just kind of watching them. And it was really great to see, and how the other characters began to see the specialness inside of her as well. And, just how special she was. And that was really lovely. I think now and again you find these characters in books and they kind of stick with you, and I think for me, Amelia is going to stick with me for a long time. She was just a character that completely blew me away. While I was reading this, I couldn't help but think that this book is coming out at the perfect time, because with the whole plot of these people moving away from their home in the middle of a war, walking through terrible terrible risk themselves. They're walking through this place where they might not even get a ticket to get on board a ship, and they're taking their children, they're taking all the belongings they can carry on their back, and they're just trying to find somewhere where they can have a new life. And it couldn't help but remind me of the refugee crisis that's going on at the moment in Europe, and with the Syrian refugees and refugees from other places that are coming to Europe trying to find a new home. The shipwreck, and with people dying, and with, you know, children dying and innocent people dying, it does remind you of this situation, how, you know, while this is terrible, it's happening in the book, it's happening every day here as well. It's happening every single day. The only thing I would say about this book is that I did find the ending kind of came very quickly. I would have liked a little bit of a longer epilogue, or I would have liked it to be marked clearer as an epilogue. I kind of didn't realise I was in it until I was kind of in the second paragraph, and I was like, oh, okay, and I had to go back and read it again. But other than that, this book was just absolutely perfect. It just blew me away. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did. I wasn't expecting to read it as fast as I did, and I just feel like I want to read it again because it's just so beautiful. So I'd really recommend anyone to pick this book up. If you like historical fiction, read it. If you just like powerful characters with a powerful story, read it. And if you're just looking for a good book to read this book, because it's amazing. And as you can tell, I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. So that is it for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please let me know below if you've read the book and what you think of it. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye!